What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good morning and happy Sacred Sunday to all of you, wherever you may be. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and this is our Sunday edition of the Awakening World. And all weekend long, we've been celebrating Earth Day. I want to welcome those of you that are in our Zoom room, and please let us know where you are from geographically, and also let us know, what does Earth Day mean to you? What does this really mean to you? What is this all about? I know that some of you, of course, have been watching our shows or have been with us on Friday night and or last night. We've had two beautiful shows already, and I've got great guests for today's show. So I'm really excited. We're going to be really kind of completing and concluding. I'm going to introduce our guests, and then we're going to drop into a beautiful meditation led by one of our guests, and I'll start by introducing her. This is Annamaria Vasquez, and it was cool. I saw her on the World Unity Week call, and she had just was talking about her brand new book, Nature Divine Experiences with Trees, Plants, Stones, and Landscapes. She's a shamanic practitioner and a certified intuitive strategist. So, Annamaria, we're looking forward to meeting you, learning about you, receiving a meditation from you in a little bit. I should also, before I go any further, introduce Robin Streichler. You've seen her throughout the weekend. She has been our wonderful co-host and colleague. She wrote the screenplay that we watched an excerpt of last night during the after show. And thank you, Robin. You've done a really wonderful job of bringing amazing people into the weekend. So thank you so much for everything you've done.
Thank you.
And this is, and we're going to make sure that we pronounce it with the proper Italiano accent. This is Donna Lay. And some of you have seen Donna Lay previously on The Awakening World. It's wonderful to have her. She's an eco-visionary artist and facilitator, and she creates ceremonial space called the listening field. And we are going to experience a little bit of the listening field. So welcome, Donna Lay. It's great to have you with us. And then this is Zela. And he's a new friend. We just met this morning. But I don't remember now. Somebody had sent me a video of you, and I watched what you had to say. And I was really touched. I said, yes, we've got to have this guy expressing himself. You have a beautiful, beautiful way of expressing yourself. So I'm looking forward to getting to know you. He walked away from a very successful business career to really drop into his spiritual self. And he has studied abroad with a living master for 7 years and brought this ancient knowledge back to Canada. And he has become quite a very popular and beloved teacher. So we are blessed to have Zela with us today.
I'm honored.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. I also want to welcome the people that are watching on Facebook and also on the YouTube channels. Now, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, come on into our Zoom room. It's going to be easier to interact with you. We are going to take questions. We're going to have, usually Sunday is a very interactive day with our audience. And it's easier to interact with you if you're in the Zoom room with us. And it's easy and it's free. Go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and register. There's a promo code, which is new friend. Just put in the promo code of new friend, and you'll get the links not only for today, you'll get the links for all of our Awakening World shows from now through the end of June. Again, we come every weekend, Friday night and Saturday night and Sunday morning, always tackling amazing topics. And some of our upcoming topics are our Moment of Choice, a collaboration with the Evolutionary Leaders Network. Next weekend, we're collaborating with the New Living Expo. We'll have Marianne Williamson back with us, John Gray, Bruce Lipton will be with us next weekend, and so on and so forth. We always have wonderful shows. So come on in, register, and join us. I also finally want to acknowledge any of you who are watching the recording. Our statistics show that about 40% of the people end up watching the recordings of these shows. So whether you're with us live or recording, welcome. All right, so to slow down and to drop in, I am going to turn it over to one of our guests. This is Annamaria. We have quite an Italiano. We have an Italian thing going on. We've got a Canadian thing going on. And we've got people from all over the world going on. Annamaria, I would love to have you get us started with a meditation and a drop-in time.
Well, first of all, it feels so amazing to be here with all of these like-hearted souls. You can just, it's palpable. The love is so phenomenal. And I can't think of any better way to send ourselves off on this mission of love for the earth than to be right here throughout this weekend together. And so let's just start by getting here now. So many times we've got so many things pulling on us, pulling on our attention. So let's just bring our attention to our breath. We can close our eyes. That sacred life force energy that flows through our body, that beautiful element of air. Just nice, long, slow, deep inhales through your nose. And nice, long, slow, and complete exhales through your mouth. You may want to use some sound to help move that energy that tends to get stuck in our bodies. Each breath moving us from that head space, that space of strategizing and trying to figure it all out, and just settling us down into that heart space. Settling us down into that heart space where that sacred breath combined with our intention activates that heart coherence. Activating that heart coherence, which creates that bridge into the quantum field, entering that quantum field full of possibilities, where before there were limited or few possibilities. And from this centered space in the field, let's just call our awareness back down into our bodies. Let it come in through the top of your head and run down that central channel. From the moment we open our eyes in the morning, our awareness becomes scattered. It goes into those limiting thought patterns of belief in the subconscious. And then, of course, we interact with others and they pull on our energy, or we simply give it away. So just call that back down, let it come in, run down that central channel. Pull that down into your legs and your feet. And let's just cap that off at the eyebrows so that we keep this awareness well within the confines of our sacred container. And from this centered space, all of us being transported to the medicine wheel, this sacred stone circle here in the forest, surrounded by the trees, the mountains, and the wildlife. And all of us finding our space on the wheel, wherever it is that you're called, and all of us coming into union, alignment, and collaboration with all of life force energy. We invoke and we activate our sacred alliance with the animals, with the plants, with the minerals, the elementals, the four directions, the four elements, the benevolent ancestors, the unseen high vibrational allies, our higher selves in the divine. And we activate this grid here today for divine protection, for insight, wisdom, healing, and guidance, that deeper connection to all that is through the animals and nature, and just landing in gratitude for the time and space to have these soulful conversations. So grateful for this time and space. And so it is.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate getting us off to that beautiful start, and we look forward to hearing all about you and your book. So thank you. I want to read a few immediate responses that have come in, and again, a reminder, whether you're in our Zoom room or watching on Facebook, when I reach down, that's where I have my other computer and I can see what's going on our Facebook pages. Let us know where you are geographically. Already, I've seen on Unify alone, we've got people from Romania, Germany, Washington State, Las Vegas, Canada. We've got two of our guests are from Canada. And likewise, I see a lot of our friends that are regulars here from Phoenix, Arizona, Santa Rosa, Minneapolis. So that's very cool. Dorina responded to the question. She says, I feel lucky and blessed to celebrate Easter twice. Last Sunday with Western friends, and again now with Bulgarian relatives and East European friends. She's pointing out that about 250 million people celebrate Orthodox Easter today. Thank you for the reminder of that. I did not know that. So happy Orthodox Easter. And certainly Earth Day and Easter, spring, it all kind of comes together for me at least in a time for us to remember our connection to Mother Earth, our connection to Great Spirit, whatever Great Spirit means to you. We are a multi-denominational program here. We honor all pathways and sacred ways. And so along those lines, I'm going to actually go to Zela next, hear from him a little bit, and then Lia is going to lead us on a listening experience and dropping into the listening field. But Zela, welcome to the Awakening World. And what does Earth Day and this time of year, what does this mean to you? How do you connect to it all?
Well, I'd like to think that this is, first off, thanks for having me on your show, Scott. I love what you're doing as a contribution to humanity, and I acknowledge you. So thank you. Bless you.
My pleasure.
I'd like to think that right now is the first of some serious recalibrated hybrid days of Earth Day, not just being April 22nd, but from now on, it turns out to be for all consciousness teachers, the basis of the teaching of which it is that they teach, and saying, if unless we all pull together here, because we cannot go after this project of healing the planet, one person can't do it. It has to be a collective. So I'd like to think that the human race is in this divine squeeze. And we as a race are really realizing that if we're going to go through this, a lot of people feel like they're buried. But the fact is that we've all been just planted. That's what it is. And I say we all need to blossom where we're planted. And it's part of the recalibration of the human race. And what most don't realize, especially the politicians, is this, and may these words echo through the canyons of your being, and that is this: the ecology and the economy have always been on a teeter-totter. Newsflash, politicians, the ecology has always won. So if you don't think it's time to wake up, then you need to really be watching the show Seaspiracy. SEA spiracy. It's like conspiracy. Watch the show Seaspiracy. This will get your attention, I assure you, because we kill the oceans and we are desperately close to that. We kill the human race as we know it. And so for the people of the earth, the Aboriginals, the Hopi, the South American tribes, they know something that the rest of civilization does not know. They know this: nature preserves that of which is in tune with it. It won't matter to these tribes because they're of the earth, they're indigenous. Won't matter if the currency goes to zero and the stock market goes to zero. They're in touch with spirit. The rest of us in society have actually gotten so far out of tune and out of touch that it is just stunning how far we are away. So I'd like that to be my opening bow shot, because I've thought about this a lot, and I call on all true teachers, but I call them TTs, to start beyond this day, saying every day is Earth Day. Before I teach you anything, let me teach you this, that we all need to go out before the big three is perfect. My most recent book is The Big Three. And I say, because of what we're going through, the big three are being depreciated by most people in their lives. The big three are financial, relationships, and ultimately health. And if you want these to come back up to becoming optimized, because most of the human race thinks, I'm not going to help Mother Earth till I've got these optimized. And I say, really? With that kind of attitude, we're all dead. And so we all need to decide that we're going to give back along the way before these big three are absolutely optimized. And for a lot of people, the light goes on, but it's a matter of whether they'll do it. And so that's my opening parlay today.
Thank you very, very much. And interesting you brought up Seaspiracy. On Friday night, our presenter, Lori Grace, one of our 4 speakers, that's what she also spoke of, is how important it is for us to all watch that movie. And it's profound and it's scary. The projection is that almost all fish in the ocean will be gone in 20 years. We're already down to 10%
Right.
of the fish. We're down to 10% of what the oceans once carried. So yeah, there's so many, on so many different levels. I was trained by Al Gore as a climate project presenter back in 2009.
Good for you.
And a lot of the most radical projections not only have come true, but actually the melting of the ice caps is even worse than the radical projections of 13 years ago.
Right.
So it's there's so many different levels, and it's hard because human nature is to not want to hear it, to not want to deal with it because it's so scary, it's so overwhelming.
Yes.
And like you said, most of us are very focused on our finances or our relationships. And isn't it interesting that what's happening is our relationships were challenged by the pandemic, which forced us in, and and our health was challenged by the pandemic, and our finances are always being challenged. So,
Yes.
good points there, Zela.
Well, if I could close with one other thing, I would
Sure.
highly recommend, it'll just take me 10 seconds. I would highly
Take your
recommend to everyone on this panel and everyone listening that they tap in to the internet, the story of stuff, and it'll sequence you, not tell you about the story of stuff, but you'll get to the story of trash. And when you view this, I guarantee you it will make an impact on your very soul. I really do. Thank you, Scott.
Oh, thank you, Zela. And we're going to hear much more from you. So we'll kind of go back and forth between, as you saw in the Awakening World, we're here to inform and inspire and take action. So Zela did some important informing. Let's balance it out with a little bit of inspiring, shall we? And I'm going to start by playing a wonderful video called Gaia Speaks. That's a wonderful introduction to Donna Lea. It's a lovely video. And so I invite us all to just kind of drop in and really see how does this video speak to you? What does it bring up for you? It clearly is very inspiring. So here we go.
Your heart is my foundation. I live there in my fullness. A new design is forming. You cannot shape it with your will. Feel the rippling patterns moving the waters of your being. You are home to this creating. Gaze upon your world through the lattice of your heart and see the beauty forming. Your heart is my foundation. I live there in my fullness. A new design is forming. You cannot shape it with your will. Feel the rippling patterns moving the waters of your being. You are home to this creating. Gaze upon your world through the lattice of your heart and see the beauty forming. Your heart is my foundation. I live there in my fullness. A new design is forming. You cannot shape it with your will.
Beautiful, Donna Lea.
It's just so beautiful. And here she is, the creator of what we just saw. There's Donna Lea. And thank you, Donna Lea, for the beautiful video. Very inspiring. Very, very lovely.
The video gets me every time because in the making of that music video on the shores of Gabriola Island, my friend Melissa is playing Gaia, and we had a moment where she had enfolded me with these incredible owl wings, and I just burst into tears and sobbed. You know, someone for whom Earth Day is like Mother Earth's birthday, but it also means family to me. I'm one of these humans that found it very difficult to create human relationships, but then discovered that I was actually wired to have primary relationships. And they are. My primary relationship is with a tree named Nokupila. She lives in Cape Town, with a river named Ishtako, who runs through British Columbia, and with a mountain called Arunachala in Southeast India. But this is just three of many, many of my relatives, teachers, guides, friends. And so Earth Day is also what it means to me. It's a vision of the future. It's a vision of a time in which the barrier between humanity and nature has dissolved, and we're able to communicate freely through our heart bonds. And we begin to co-create together. And I'm going to say a new word that came through a couple of days ago in the listening field. Oh, can I say it? Co-creality. 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 I kept saying co-creative partnership with nature, but what do we do together? You know, we are in co-creality. So we create together. And we always have been. It's just that nature's been creating along the lines of what's the good of all, and we've been marching along over here doing our own thing. So what can we do? My first suggestion would be answer the call that you hear. Because we all are already bonded with a body of water, a tree, a mountain, lichen, fungi. I mean, we all have the relatives that we love. So when you're walking by a tree, or when you hear a call from a river, like the name keeps coming into your head, answer the call. Go and find out what that relative, why they're calling you. And it may sound a little bit weird in the first moment to know that we can communicate with them, but we are them. We are of the same family. So if you hear the call, answer it. It's a wonderful adventure. It changed my life. There's two other little small things that I want to mention, and they came through the Water Gratitude Project that I started in 2012. So trees were my first teachers, then water, then mountains. So one thing that you can do is make a nice beaded chain and put a beautiful pendant on it. And we call these water blessing bracelets. And you wrap it around the base of your water tap where the water comes out. So that every time you turn the taps on and off, it's an opportunity to remember this is a relative coming out of the tap. Mm-hmm. And it's an opportunity to just say, thank you, water, and to engage. So that's one. The second one is something I call a water heart. And I'm going to put a JPEG in the chat where you can save it and print it. But they're simply these beautifully stenciled hearts, one for water, one for tree. And you can color them in. And in the center, you can put the name of your tree and where it lives, and or water and where it lives. Cut them out and put them somewhere in your house. So, you know, we are in that quantum field that Annamaria dropped us into. And so you can offer your love. And when you do, that relative feels it. So again, we're building relationship with our nature relatives in the same way that we do with our elders.
Beautiful. I had the opportunity to do with Lia Lay. She led myself and a couple of friends on a listening field experience. And what was interesting for me was what came into my memory was when I grew up, when I was a boy growing up, I grew up at a place called Granada Hills. We had 2 orange trees that were in our front yard. And I have not thought of those orange trees in decades. And lo and behold, that's what came into my consciousness. And an awareness of how those orange trees were a big part of my growing up. It was really, really cool. I'm going to bring on all of our guests Um, and that's going to include also there's Robin Streichler. And this is Debbie Johnston. Debbie, some of you know, she's who makes all things happen for us. Um, and I'm wondering if, as I bring on our guests, and here's Omar Shar, who's going to play a little bit of music. Here's Jeffrey Colbrook, one of our absolute favorite people who comes onto the show on a regular basis. And here's Layden, who I know works closely with Zela. So we can have 9 people on. Would you be willing to lead us through a short little listening field experience, Donalea? And we'll all kind of drop in with you.
Sure, sure. Let's Earth Day is very much about our tree relatives. So let's invite in a tree relative. So let's just close our eyes and really just return to the heart space that Annamaria already brought us to. So just a couple of breaths to settle back into the quantum field in alliance with all of life. Now bringing our awareness fully into our heart space, breathing in and out, expanding the love that is there and relaxing on the exhale. And with your heart full of your love, invite a tree who you know to join you in this moment. Or you might just see one show up. So once you see tree in front of you, I invite you to send a wave of love to tree and just wait and feel what comes back. Beautiful. So again, make an offering, feel it received, and then see what comes back. Now, once you feel what I call the heart bond, so you're on one end of it, tree is on the other, and your love forms a channel in between. Now you have an opportunity to continue a dialogue. So you might ask tree a question, something that's on your heart, It's personal, it's meaningful. And then you listen for tree's response. You can also offer tree something. And then another alternative is just to say, is there something that I can do for you? So follow whatever comes to your own heart. We'll just take a minute to allow us all to have this experience for ourselves. Beautiful. Just trusting whatever you hear, feel, or see. So now giving thanks to your tree. Sometimes I like to say specifically for what I received. And then then say goodbye. And I usually say something like, see you again. And then invite you to open your eyes and come back out. Now, before anything else happens, I invite you, because I got an important message, just to jot it down or maybe put it in the chat, or do both. But I just want to capture mine while I got it.
And while you're capturing yours, I do want to invite as many people as possible to put into the chat what you experienced. And that includes those of us watching on Unify, those watching on Love Coach Academy, and of course, those of you that are in our Zoom room. And I'm going to ask a few of the people that are actually with us on panel if they want to share what they experienced. And then I will, while they're doing that, I'll take a look and see what you all are writing, and I'll share some of what came up in the chat. But I'm curious, Zela or Annamaria, did you have an experience you'd like to share? Annamaria.
Absolutely. It was, I mean, anytime I get to, that's my happy place, right? Thank you, Leah. That is my absolute happy place to be there. And just the overwhelming love that was coming back and reminding that it has to do with each of our own personal connection, right? So it was the reminder about my own personal connection and how that creates the ripples that go out and to stay connected. So I'm excited to hear what everybody else was receiving, because our tree family they're so profound. So thank you, Leah.
Beautiful. And again, maybe you got the name of your tree, where it lives, what you received, what was the gift that you gave, what did you receive? And already I love, Robin wrote that her tree hugged her back. So that's very cool. And Jeffrey Colbrook writes, I experienced my love for all trees that I've planted and that I've watched grow into big, powerful trees. He adds, I feed my trees water structured by the arc crystal from the Unified Science Research at the Resonance Science Organization. That's beautiful. Thank you. Zela, I'm going to put the spotlight on you for a moment. I'm curious what came up for you.
Well, there's three particular trees that are on the property that came to my attention, and it just seemed like they were saying, "Me too. What about me?" And there's two that I have these reclining chairs in my yard with that I sit under quite often. That I've lit them up, and they know how partial I am to that particular spot, because I really feel that it's a power spot. But I have another one on the other end of the property that's a huge tree. I mean, it is just huge. And that one there came to me and said, we've never done this before enough. And so as a result, I'd ask for your attention here as a priority. And so I was going back and forth, and then I decided that I could bubble the whole property and give them all the love that they need. I said, guys, you know what? This love comes through me. It's not from me. I mean, love is in this world, but it's not of this world. There's enough here for everybody. I'll just focus it on all. You take as much as you want, fill your boots up. There's just no end of love. And so that was my experience. And it was a little humorous as to, what about me?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, what about me?
We have some wonderful responses that have come in. So I'm going to read the responses. And while I do that, I'm going to keep a few of you on camera just because it's kind of interesting. Roger writes, reminded me of a peach tree when growing up. I gave thanks to it, and I also thanked the mulberry tree in our backyard. Melinda writes, my tree, who lives here with me, told me what I always knew, that they love being in our presence as much as we love them in our presence. And Layden, who is your friend Zela, wrote, connecting with Father Sky through the branches and Mother Earth through the roots going down into Mother Earth. I'm going to read a few from Unify. Sharon Pugh writes, yes, mine is the bald cypress, where I performed Qigong in her presence, of course, always with her permission. Wendy DiMatteo writes, I just was at the park and took a picture of a loving couple after they asked me to. The cherry blossoms were very sweet and spectacular. I was honored to be asked to share a moment in their life, and I felt that the tree was smiling. Uh, Joni Rita, also from Unify still, writes, my tree that used to be a live little Christmas tree was planted in my front yard. It's very tall now, and it's very much loved. I felt the love coming back to me for allowing the tree to be planted, and it now lives proud and tall. And then back to our Zoom room. Uh, well, Daniela writes, the Sitka spruce elder on the coast besides me is what came to her. The purpose of our new connection is so that I can receive the message and wisdom from their elders. And Robin wants to say something. So, Robin, you're up.
Yeah, just what came to me is something I want to share that I don't know if people know, that the leaves filter in the fractals of the sun. So if you see little round spots of light on the ground, it's actually fractals of the sun. And I'll tell you how I know that. When we had the eclipse, you could see the eclipse on the ground through the leaves of the trees. So it's just another beautiful aspect of what trees do that a lot of people might not notice.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you very much. All right. Well, that was a lovely experience. So I'm going to put Daniela on for a minute, and actually, I'll go to gallery view. Let's all twinkle Daniela for that beautiful, beautiful experience.
Can I say one more thing?
Of course.
Okay. So I was given a vision in February for a unification ceremony between humans and nature elders for June 21st during World Unity Week. And in that vision, I saw thousands of human beings presencing the nature elders in their heart. And in the moment of unification, it was completely quiet. And there was a collective listening all across the field through the heart bonds. And in that moment, everything shifted from separation to unity with nature. And communication now flowed freely, and we step into co-creality. So I want to let people know that this is happening. You can let your nature elders know that it's happening, and a more formal invitation is coming soon. And then when we get later in the show, I'll share with you some invitations where you can join an orientation for that ceremony itself too. But we can do this. It's already happening. We just need to understand the co-creative power that's in these bonds that we have, and to listen to their messages and take them into our lives. Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. And we'll hear more from Daniela a little bit later. In a moment, Omashar, just to get you ready, we're going to go to music from Omashar just to kind of help us drop in and integrate our experience. Still want to read maybe a few other comments. And here's one that just came in from Joni on Unify. Joni, I know you're becoming a regular watching us, so thank you. She writes, I love my trees in my yard. 3 of them that I planted years ago. My lemon tree is beautiful, and I bless the bees that pollinate it every year. That's a really important memory for us, to bless the bees and the little ones. I bless the bees that pollinate it every year and all the people that benefit from its produce. I love that. She's really understanding the whole sustainable little eco-cycle there of the bees that do the cross-pollination, the tree that then gives up its fruit, and then blessing the people that eat the fruit. That's awesome, Joni. Thank you. All right, Omashar, what do you got for us today?
What do I have for you? Well, first I have 2 trees.
Oh, good.
Right. I visit the UK once or twice a year for the last 3,000 years. And there's 2 trees there. One's a plane tree, Plane, and it's almost 450 years old. And the other one's a Douglas fir, which is about 120 years old. And they're kind of close to each other. And they both jumped into my attention as the trees did with Zela. And then the elder, the plane tree, I focused on that. It's a beautiful tree with massive leaves like the maple. And basically it was just, the communication was just thank you for communicating with me. That was it. It was simple. You know, my mind wanted to conjure up other stuff, but that is what I felt. And so that was awesome. And the song I have here is called The True Ones. And it's about those of us who are awakening to our divine nature, to the nature of everything that connects us all. And the song speaks for itself, so I shall sing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar Shar. It's great to have you with us.
Always a blessing.
The air we breathe, and as we fly again, I love the sacred sky. Now we are whole again. I love the way we've changed. With open hearts again, I love the love we are. We are rising, there's no disguising the truth of who we are. With our hearts connected again, we are the stars. As we walk again, we know the sacred earth. And as we see again, to ourselves we give birth. As we feel again, our boundaries dissolve. Free to love again, right from the heart of one. We are rising, there's no disguising of who we are. With our hearts connected again, now we are the stars. And now that we are home, and all is said and done, light can find its way through all the true ones. Broken hearts resolve into the song of life. And the song of life will now be heard by all. We are rising, there's no disguising the truth of who we are. With our hearts connected again, now we are the stars.
Omashar, you are such a gift to our community. Such a
Um,
blessing. Thank you.
right
Thank
back at us all. Thank you.
you. Oh, thank you. And hey, I want to remind everybody while we've got Omashar with us that you can find all things Omashar on his web page, which I have right here, and it's his name, omashar.com. And definitely make sure you go to Instagram and follow him on Instagram. And he's got a YouTube channel. That's how I first discovered him. Was on some of his YouTube videos. So omashar.com, and always remember, let's support our musical friends and musical
Thank you so
guests.
much.
Thank you, Omashar. You're a gift to our world and a gift to the Global Peace Tribe. Speaking of gifts, I want to take a moment to direct people to another page, which is sacredstories.com. Sacredstories.com. And if you go there, you're going to see a lot of books from a lot of the people you see on our show. In fact, as I'm looking at those books at the top, every one of those people, except for two of them, have been on Global Peace Tribe shows that I've hosted, including most recently Sister Jenna. But today we have Annamaria Vasquez. And of course, she wrote the book that you'll find there, all about nature. So I'm going to bring her back on. Of course, she led our opening workshop and our opening meditation. So Annamaria, welcome, and tell us a little bit about this wonderful book that you've written.
Well, I think the first clarification is it wasn't me, right?
Oh.
I was so grateful to be the mouthpiece for nature, to speak through me. And that was my primary intention, right? Like, as a human, I'm interesting enough. But when we talk about what it is that the natural world, the trees, the rocks, the landscapes, what they want to share with us, it was so much more important to me that I really connected in. So the beauty of this creation of this book was to be so in communion with the natural world and give words and articulation to what so many of us who've gathered here, right? Like, we already know these things to be true, but we don't always understand the mechanics. So in the book Nature, Divine Experiences with Trees, Plants, Rocks, and Landscapes, it's a beautiful format. And in this one, the first section is all about how the mystical comes through nature. So I explain the energy, the mechanics of trees and rocks and the elements and the elementals. And we really dive into that so that your brain, right, this busybody up here has something to munch on and go, oh yeah, oh, that makes sense, or I knew that and I didn't know I knew that. And the second is this beautiful collaborative piece of contributing authors giving their personal true experiences, profound experiences in the natural world. And so I feel like that opens up the possibility for the rest of us to go even deeper with our own experiences. Not so much the folks who are gathered here, but I talk to so many people who dismiss so easily, or it must have been my overactive imagination, when they have these profound experiences with trees or plants or rocks or a mountain or a river. And to move it from that shushed conversation that we have with folks where it's like, oh, you're not going to believe what happened, to moving it into mainstream, to where we realize if we're not experiencing that mystical, we're disconnected. We are out of alignment. If I don't witness some seriously magical stuff going on in my life on a regular basis, I know I got to get out to those trees. I got to go sit with the rocks. I need to go commune with Sister River for a while to bring myself back in. And so finally, in the last part, I take you through simple exercises. So folks who are brand new to the connection with nature on this spiritual level, they can go through and practice and experience this. And those of us who are already having these experiences, a way to intentionally take it deeper. So it feels so much like a homecoming being here with this group of like-hearted souls, because you all get it, right? Like all of the information that was coming through the trees during Donalea's beautiful process, these are things that we know and we practice. And so to have a way to share that with others, you know, to bring this through, to remind us that this connection of all the things we've learned through the weekend, which are great ways to be an inspired action, but our connection, our personal connection with the natural world, we are wired for that. And the more we engage that, that is what's going to create the ripples that changes the way that we live on this planet and ushers in these new times that we've been so desiring to step into on a bigger global scale. So I'm beyond grateful to have so many folks focusing their heart energy and intention on Mama Earth and on all of our natural allies, and to have a place like this where we can speak about this and share it with others, because this is how we be the change and this is how we create those ripples in the world. So thank you, Scott, and your amazing team that makes this happen, not just during Earth Week, but during every week, because it's all sacred.
Thank you. And even though we kind of know these things in our mind, we need to keep reminding ourselves over and over and over. And whether it's reading your book that you brought through as a clear channel for spirit, or watching the videos, or going out just into our own backyard and seeing what's out there. It's all really, really important. I'm going to go to Zela. We haven't heard from you for a little while. And I'm curious, what's alive for you in this moment to share, my friend?
Well, this whole focus on Mother Earth, again, I think this needs to be paramount for all the teachers on the planet right now, to really promote that this needs to be a collective thing. No one person can do this. And it all comes out, the answer is in one thing. And it's in one thing, believe it or not. I mean, what is the one thing that has the ability to transform war through the power of human collaboration? What's the one thing that can bring our planet back from ecological brink? What's the one thing that has the power to control corporations and bring them back from impunity for polluting the planet? What is this one thing? A lot of people that I teach, they just pull a blank. How could this be one thing? And some go to the problem, which is greed. And I say, no, the answer. And the answer, Scott, is integrity. And a lot of people would say that's a stretch. Personal integrity, doing all this and saving the planet too. And I go, yes, because there's this golden thread that weaves through personal integrity and the planet health together. And most people are missing this one thing that's so obvious. And I mean, when I say to people in my classes are, integrity means different things to different people. So let's go to Google. Okay. And Google says the first thing is being honest and having strong moral principles. But the second one is the one. And it says the state of being whole and undivided. Now, this whole and undivided, this means oneness. And you can't be in touch really and impact nature and understand nature unless you're in touch with the vertical, with your oversoul, with the divine. You can't do it. You're faking it if you think you can. Because once you do that, you realize that we're all one. And integrity, I mean, it's got an expanded meaning about transparency, balance, harmony. Integrity is the golden rule. Integrity is what you do when no one's looking. I mean, you take a look at the oceans. There's a place in the ocean where they figure that the plastic bottles is the size of Texas. Now, could you imagine sailing into that hundreds and hundreds of miles of plastic bottles? I mean, this is proof that, you know what? Integrity is what you do when no one's looking. This is what's happened here. And I mean, the story of stuff also contains the story of plastic. And I mean, we need to get on fire like our hair is on fire about the planet. I'm serious. We need to really, really do this to make this a planetary game changer that can really change the direction with what's going on Earth. Because if we're out of integrity with ourselves, our spirit, then we're out of integrity with nature. And that's why nature preserves that which is in tune with it. That's why these Aboriginal tribes and these nature tribes in Africa, in South America, the Hopis here, they're of the earth. They're of the earth. And so as a result, again, currency could go to zero. Stock market could go to zero. And you know what? They're preserved because nature preserves that which is in tune with it. Nature, spirit, synonymous. And we as true teachers need to really be stressing this, that nature and spirit are synonymous. And we are so disconnected as a human race that, you know what, I say, something's going to happen here where Mother Nature's going to wake us up. And I believe that it could come through a solar flare. I think it could come through an electromagnetic pulse. Because once you have an electromagnetic pulse, you know what happens is? No more electricity for a while. No more bank machines gone. No more gas for the vehicle. And you know what then? I'll tell you what works then. You have to be able to create. You have to be able to create out of the blue. And there's very few places that you could go that actually teach you the mechanics of consciousness, that where you can create. And I mean, we're all here to develop a fertile imagination. The only problem is the illusion has become primary and we've lost that way. So that's what I teach at my center. So I'm sorry if I overstayed my welcome on that invitation.
Not at
But
all.
I'm passionate about this because without this, I mean, where are we going? I'll see you on the other half of the sky. Because when Mother Nature's had enough, you know what? She'll say, thank you very much. We'll start again like we did in the previous 5 root races. I believe we're in the 6th root race and we started already the end of the 6th root race. Watch Seaspiracy, wake up. Because you know what? You're not going to have to worry about topping up and becoming optimized in the big 3 of financial, relationships, and health. Because you know what? If we don't give back to Mother Earth, those get wiped out. And Mother Nature says, let's just start again. Let's just start again.
Robin's got something for you.
I just want to say I'm just amazed at what you're saying because it ties our whole weekend together. We've had so many synchronicities. And the one thing is that my screenplay has the great garbage patch in it. It has our being present in oneness with Earth. And it has the solar flare is the cause of the transformation in that. So I just can't even believe the synchronicities, also tying into Kurt Johnson and Duane Elgin on Friday, talking about how we needed to use media like scripts and news and everything to get the message exactly of what you're saying out there. So I just thought that the synchronicity of this entire weekend, starting with Duane and Kurt and ending with us discussing what needs to occur for consciousness, and then being wrapped up in the script that I happen to write that contains this message in every way you spoke it, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, the solar flare, and nature, being present with nature. So I'm just amazed, Scott. I'm just amazed. Thank you.
Well, there's a commonality that's taking place that we all are, and different people are saying it. One of the things that's been fascinating for me doing the Awakening World, and before that, Saturday Night Live, I've done 400 online shows in 2 years. And we've had a couple of hundred authors, lecturers, speakers. And really pretty much whether it's an Indigenous elder or a famous person like Marianne Williamson or any of you, everybody's basically saying the same thing, which is this is it. We are at a real extraordinary moment in human history in which we absolutely have to radically change. And radical change is happening in the environment. Radical change is happening in the world. And we as human beings need to wake up. So Daniel, Lia, And then I see both Lia and Zela have your hands up. So Lia and then Zela.
So I want to tag off of your first statement, Zela, which was the personal integrity piece. So I'm a human that has really not paid too much attention to the human world outside, and I live as inside, so outside, as above, so below. We all know that spiritual principle. So I live by do it on the inside first. So this is where if you're feeling overwhelmed about the magnitude of the issues out there, I suggest that you take your attention off of out there and just put it here. Number one, in your heart. Connect with your nature elders. I tell you, they don't have this kind of worry, fear, strife. They're doing their deal. So you get to plug into a system that, although is burdened, is really only doing its own deal in evolution. And it's going to be up to us whether we go along for the ride. But my point is that, for example, and when there was flooding in the Lower Mainland in Vancouver in November, people wrote to me and said, Lia, will you ask the water what's going on? And I didn't even have to go and ask water. I just tuned into my own water. And all I got was out of balance, out of balance, out of balance. Yeah. We're out of balance. So rather than me trying to help the people down there or do anything out there or tell other people that we're out of balance, waste of breath, I looked at my own life and went, where am I still out of balance? Because I live very, very, very consciously. And there was one area that was still bothering me, that was still hard on my heart. And you know what it was? It was using toilet paper for my liquid eliminations. And from that moment forward, I took a towel and I cut it up into squares. And since that moment, that's what I use for myself. And now that alignment, as best as I can, is complete in my life. So look at your life and you reach for something at the grocery store and you're kind of like, your body goes, and that's because it's not in alignment with you as a natural being in harmony with your environment. So pay attention to the signals in your body. Pause, breathe, ask, what is this about? And make a new choice.
Very, very good. I acknowledge you, but I think the life that we live has got to do with simultaneous polarities. I think you have to be aware of what's going on outside of you to drive you deeper inside of you. And I think that all of us here are doing exactly that. And I think that all of us are in this divine squeeze. I think that humanity is in this divine squeeze to go vertical, not just horizontal of duality. And so we must be able to have 1 foot inside of the box of this 10% of our brain and 1 foot outside in the quantum. And I think that this is the time where, Lia, we're putting more weight in what's outside the 10% of the brain in the quantum for all of the universe. And I think we still got a foot inside the box. So we've got simultaneous polarities going on here, but the divine has to become to the point that we realize through the divine that the best things in life aren't things. And that has to stop. And integrity needs to matter more than things right now, especially personal net worth, corporate profits, lifestyle, image, and money. Money is a major culprit. And so it's all about us being squeezed as a race to come together divinely, so that divinely, if we've got 20 people on this program today, if we can all think about this as to what we're going to do for Mother Nature, then 20 is just not that great a number. But together, if we all focus, and there's 20 number ones, and there's a digit every 3 digits, there's a comma every 3 digits, and we all focus on the same thing, never mind the human race doing this, we are extremely powerful. But the outside is very, very important in terms of providing us with a sense of urgency to come together and do this together as a collective in this divine squeeze. So I love what you had to say, but I even love more so what the Cree prophecy is. And only after the last tree has been cut down, only after the last river has been poisoned, only after the last fish has been caught, only then will humanity find that money cannot be eaten. That to me is the bottom line concerning the environment. And we're all going to contribute. And I give you full marks for contributing toilet tissue. My goodness, good for you. I give you hats off. I'd never thought of that one because my way, and I noticed in the chat box, somebody says, how do I connect to Mother Nature? What I say is go out, sit in a cluster of trees. Let the tree be the antenna for you to the universe that it is. Sit there and do something like the big five, as I call it, of the S treatment. Sit still, silently at sunrise and sunset for a sustained period of time. When you've done this for a month, come talk to me. Most people can't make it a day. When you do this, then you understand what it's like to connect. I jumped out of society for 7 years.
Zela, I want to give a couple of other people the chance to share.
I apologize.
And I do honor everything that you're saying, and everything that everyone is saying is of value. Right?
Yes, it is.
There is no better or worse buts, but everyone has pieces. Everybody has their own unique contribution to our awakening world. So, Annamaria, you've had your hand up, and then Robin after that.
We talk about having all the voices at the table. I know Lia and I had that conversation too around, we talk so much about what to do for the earth, but really engaging the earth herself, talking to our natural allies and bringing that in is so important. And I mean, you just need 2 minutes of listening to the news or scrolling through your news feed to be completely out of whack and completely frantic about the various situations, right? Like pick one, it doesn't even matter. And what we're being reminded at that moment is we got to get back connected to here. And what Zela has said, what everyone has said, right? It's about getting out in nature. And if you can't get out in nature, right? Like some folks are in areas where they are a little more landlocked, a little more in the middle of the concrete jungle. But we are called as energetic beings to still make that connection. And those of us who can go sit under the auric field of a tree or within the harmonic field of rocks, great, do that. That's going to bring you back to yourself quickly. But if you can't, if you're in that high rise, in an urban setting, close your eyes, take the breath, right? Sacred life force, our kin of the element of air, animating our cells, take those breaths and visualize, right? The brain doesn't know the difference. But when we're in the middle of all these voices that are saying, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, we got to take control of that and get in our heart space, connect to that quantum field and just be. And listen, it's exactly what Zela was just saying. It's exactly what everyone has said. But nature offers us the quickest path back to our true selves and to know what's true for us, what's going to make an impact there. So I'm just so expanded being in this conversation and again the ripples that are going to come from it.
Beautiful, thank you. Robin.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. Let me put my hand down. Oh, there. So I just wanted to comment, we are trying to give people some practical direction about what we can all do. And we had a guest on our climate show, I believe it was, and his name was Michael Zelnicker. And he was doing a documentary on the boreal forests called Issue with Tissue. And I'm going to put a link to the IMDb. It's not out yet, but look for it. And just know that the forests are great. They capture carbon. And the boreal in Canada, as we have a couple of Canadians here, I think, two Canadians. It's extremely important, not only to the world, but also the indigenous peoples that depend on it for their home. And this is all about that. It's about the indigenous peoples. It's about the destruction of the boreal for tissue, for toilet paper. And we have to realize this one very important fact. The Amazon and the boreal are some of this. This is our carbon capture. It's the breath, the lungs of the earth, as well as other forests in the world. But if you cut too much of it, it then does the reverse. It's then decay, and it starts putting carbon back into the atmosphere. We can't emphasize the importance of our forests more and to use it for toilet paper. So anyway, look for that. And I'm going to put a link just to some more information on that. Thanks.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, everybody, for all your comments. I want to read. We're wrapping up, but I want to read a few of the comments from our listeners or our viewers, and then each of you will get one last chance to have whatever your final thought for the day is. From Connie writes, and this is in reference to the quote that Zela gave from the Cree Indian about it's not until everything is gone that we're going to realize. And Connie writes, it won't be after the last. It's getting our attention now as we do approach the last, and the nature spirits are speaking up. And all the folks such as ourselves that are here today who are speaking up and leading the way of what's possible, opening hearts and minds to connection to all that is. Connie continues, the earth is in a higher frequency and we are accessing more information, new realities from ETs and animals, trees, rocks. They've been awaiting this time and we are now choosing to align with our free will. So it's very, very beautiful. Michael Leipelt writes, we need to green more urban spaces and move to urban design for people and all of our sentient needs. A couple of people talked about the value of bamboo toilet paper. And so again, where can we it's everything. It's taking time to tune in, and it's little things like changing our toilet paper habits. And then looking at Unify, sadness about the plastics, sadness about people choosing money and greed, more comments about bamboo toilet paper. Today's the bamboo toilet paper. Bamboo toilet paper is the sponsor of today's show. So there you have it. Okay, I'm going to go to each of you one last time and hear what you want to share, and we'll also go to your website. And I think let's go to Annamaria first. Annamaria,
I'm just so inspired by the gathering, right? And how each person is in there listening. And so my final words would be, don't let the state of the planet disempower you. This is a call to action. This isn't just about the Earth's journey. This is about each of our soul's journey. And part of that, a crucial part of that journey, is this deep connection to the natural world. We are nature. It's not something outside of us. It is us. We embody all of these elements within us. So don't stay stuck in the what's wrong, because it's so easy. We need to feel it and move on and take that stand and be the listening, right? We all vote with our dollars. Are we giving our time and our energy and our resources to those who are honoring the planet, or are we giving it to those who are not making decisions in the highest? So spend time in the quiet, connected to the earth elements, whichever one you're called to. All it takes is a few deep breaths to drop into your heart space and make that connection. And then simply follow that inspiration, but be that advocate for the planet, for your higher self, in all that you be and all that you do. We each can make such a big difference, but not if we get scared, not if we're in fear, not if we're, in this angst. We need to come from that heart space, connected to our natural allies, to really be the difference here. And thank you for all of the inspiration that there's so many people doing this already. And I'm in love with your little doggy there right now.
Well, I've got her. It's interesting. She came up to my lap, and I noticed that right here, on your photo, it's all about your website, Intention Training, and there you are with one of your dogs. Whoops, whoops, she's ready to go down. Okay.
She's like, I've made my appearance.
She made it exactly. She made her appearance, and now it's like I need to go see what my roommate's doing. Tell us about this. Is, by the way, everybody, intentiontraining.com. It's Annamaria's website, and tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
Yeah, it's great that I'm a tree talker. It's great that I talk with the animals, but it's more important that every one of us as humans remember that we're wired to do this. And so I love to be that bridge and the one that helps you unpack your intuitive backpack, right? We can't always get to our granola bar or our map when it's at the bottom of our backpack, but when you've got someone with you helping you and empowering you to really be connected to the natural world, whether that's the animals, whether that's the trees, the rivers, the lakes, the mountains. I'm seeing some snow coming over the mountains. I'm grateful for that moisture. Whatever it is, to go deeper. And I invite you to reach out if you resonate with what we've been talking about. This book, Nature, Divine Experiences with Trees, Plants, Landscapes, it's going to be right up your alley. It's a great book to share with those who we know feel the call but don't really understand the mechanics, the energetics. And of course, if you go to my website, you can get on my mailing list and stay abreast of what's going on, what I'm talking about, where I'm appearing, and ways for you to go deeper and learn through courses and, again, public speaking opportunities or even private remote sessions. But there are ways for you to take your connection deeper to really help be a part of the solution, because it's the disconnection that has created the issues. And as each of us reconnect and connect even deeper, that's what's going to be the change for all of us. So thank you again for this time in this space and all of these like-hearted souls gathered. It's so beautiful and inspiring.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's good to meet you. And I see that you have a free PDF you're giving to people about listening. So go to her website, intentiontraining.com, and pick up your free PDF. Thank you, Annamaria. Zela, I do want to let you know we have more than 20 people here. We have 37 in the Zoom room, and we've got hundreds watching on Facebook. So it's a little more than 20. So you have a really cool, the Center for Transformation. That kind of sums it up. Tell us all about the work that you're doing and how people can connect with you.
Well, you can tap in the CFT.ca, the CFT.ca. We've been around for 20 years. It's only in the last 6 to 8 months I've been instructed, or I should say allowed, to put my picture up on this website.
Wow.
And in the last 6 months, I've done, 30 talk shows as people are hearing what it is that I'm doing. We train people right from basic spirituality right through to quantum mechanics. We've got these all recorded classes, but you still get to integrate with me. You can still come on weekend retreats and 7-day retreats. We're about finding your center. Where can you go on the internet to find basic spirituality right through to quantum mechanics, in the mechanics of consciousness, on how to increase the fertility of your imagination? Can you imagine? I had to go away for 7 years to do this. Then I came back and started teaching. I've been teaching quietly for 21 years. And this is about the power of peace, about the power of integrity, about understanding how important this time is. It's all about increasing our capacity. As you give more back to Mother Nature, you'll find that you're increasing your capacity to create more. And integrity, as far as I'm concerned, is about putting God first, which is spirit, which is love first. And God, spirit, love, they're all equal. And they're all part of Mother Nature. And they all blossom in our DNA, our divine nature, all. That's our true DNA. Get out in nature, sit. You'll find that, you know what? You can be the change you want to see in the world. Candy. Over and out.
Well, thank you so much, Zela. So again, to learn more, to get access, please go to thecft.ca. Thecft.ca. That stands for the Center for Transformation. And most importantly, always, when you go to these places, put in your email address. Um, should get it. There we go. So now I'm going to be part of it. I am
Thank
submitting.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank
Thank you, Zela, for being with us. Thank you so much. Whoops. Oh, I think I'm getting you a gift. Is probably what's happening. Yep. So we just learned when you sign up, you right off the bat get something wonderful. So that's cool to know. Lay, here we are. Thank you so much for being with us and helping us to connect to a tree or two. And thank you for your dedication and your reminder to go inside, to go within. Any final thoughts you'd like to share?
Yes. First of all, thank you, everyone. It's been a very animated time together. Like Annamaria, my passion is helping people remember their connection. And so I do private mentoring. My website is being updated at the moment, but one of the things that I'm offering right now, and my focus is this listening field. And so what is special about the listening field is that you connect with your own nature elders in a group of people doing the same thing. So the group field in concert with our nature relatives and the field out there helps us hear, feel, know much more than we do by ourselves. So you can follow me on my Facebook page. It's called D. Castell Eco Relations, or just Eco Relations. And there you're going to find the events that are happening May 6th, May 13th, June 6th, June 13th. Now, these events are orientations to the unification ceremony that some of us are listening into. The ceremony still hasn't revealed itself entirely for June 21st. So I invite you to join me so that you can become very familiar with the nature elders who might want to join you for this ceremony, and also to practice this sacred listening through the heart bonds in a group field. Beautiful. So that would be the invitation that I would offer to you in this moment. All right, the other thing that I want to just let you know about is that there is an arc that I am aware of, and specifically over the past week in Mexico and Guatemala. These incredible four-world unification ceremonies of the indigenous peoples of North America, Mexico, and Central America, and then South America was added. So the eagle, the condor, the quetzal, and the hummingbird. So these women, the northern delegation just came out of the jungle and shared with us yesterday. And you can find the live sharing on the Red Road. The Red Road Facebook. But the reason I wanted to mention this is because I received this vision for the human nature unification in February. I had no idea that these women, this long held prophecy of the unification of the human family would happen in April over Earth Day. So I see this arc of bringing the human family together in unity. Then in June 21st, those of us who choose aligning and committing with our nature elders, opening up that communication between us, and now proceeding towards Peace Week in September and building our capacity to work together as organizations, aligning our inner life, and working with our nature relatives all the way along. So yes, there is this other ending that is going on, and it is an ending. But as Grandmother Jyoti said the other day, and something that I sought her, she said, this is the end cycle. It is the time when we say, what are the things that need to end for me personally? And I actually had to make another one literally 2 days ago. And thank you, Zela, because the shaman squeeze, that's what was happening. It was literally being squeezed. And the moment I made another choice, it stopped. And so now I go, oh, can't go back to that now. That's over. But we must, because we love. When we love, we do what it takes to take care of our relatives. So thank you for following your love into action and into deep listening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lia. So many wonderful people on our shows, and each person has so much more to share than we even have time for. So I do appreciate each and every one of you being with us. Thank you. And I want to conclude today's show and the weekend with Robin, who did so much to make this weekend happen. So, again, thank you, Robin, for all of your contributions. And I know you probably have a few things to share. I also want to just let people know about the Awakening World Players, our new little website that we created for you. And again, this is where people can get more information about your amazing screenplay that we had a reading of last night, and we'll post it up here. Also, people will be able to find it on our YouTube channel. Robin, your last thoughts.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. I just want to put my gratitude out to you and Debbie and every guest. And I know we talk a lot about consciousness, and I also know, being a lifelong environmentalist, that we also want real solutions and to support the best solutions. So Zela touched on a few today, and I would like to just add, and I put them all in the chat, but the people to support, in my view, after really studying what the solutions we can have right now are Amory Loveland's with efficiency in design, which can be done all over within years and preserve so much or save so much waste in carbon dioxide output. And the second one, Mark Jacobson, just follow him and you'll see how he can show you how we can use safe renewable energy, no nuclear, no fossil fuel, and we can implement that almost immediately. 3, regenerative agriculture. Go to kisstheground.org. 4, and this is the last one, and it would be Story of Stuff, which Zela already mentioned. So look into those. They are solutions, and if we can just bring those to the forefront, we have solutions right now. So thank you.
Thank you again, Robin. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. And again, if you find this show or any of our episodes valuable, please pass it on to your friends. Forward. This is how we grow. Like Zela said, we start with a few and then we grow and we grow. And you never know who's going to hear something, and whether it's something as simple as changing their toilet paper habit to someone realizing that it's really time for them to change their entire life. Wherever it is, we're all God, life experiencing itself through our unique vessel that each of us has. I recognize and honor the eternal beloved that's in each and every one of you watching and listening. And bless us and bless our world. And may we all be clear channels for spirit to flow through. Finally, we call it the Sacred Sunday Show, and a reminder that we can make any moment sacred just by choosing to see the divinity in all. The divinity in nature, which is a little bit easier than seeing the divinity in other people. But seeing the divinity in other people is also a really wonderful thing to do as well, especially even when you're looking in the mirror, seeing the divinity within yourself. So thank you, everybody. Thank you again to our wonderful, amazing presenters that joined us all weekend, including today. Going to Gallery View. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. And remember, let's make every day Earth Day.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
We're all walking each other home.
Thank you.
That's right. That's
We're
right.
all walking each other home.
Absolutely.